Woodsy, very tough day for the Tigers.
Oh, tough is an understatement, Kat. It is one of the toughest tasks going down to Melbourne, Amy Park, versing Melbourne after a shock loss the week before in Golden Point. Ill discipline. You could just tell Craig Bellingwood had the side wound up because of how poor they were in that back end of the game against Canberra. Look, they should have won that, but then, yeah, just you knew coming down to this one, Tigers were going to get a real, a real show to see where they're at and how much they've improved. The scoreline was 64-0. I think it was 34-0 at half-time. Ryan Pappenhausen scored a hat-trick within the first 15 or 16 minutes of the game.
Wow.
His first try individually, just the individual brilliance from him, the effort that he showed to create something out of nothing, put a grubber in, got another second kick. He was so off balance the way he picked the ball up and got it down. I remember just watching it live. The referee gave it a try. I was like, surely we're going to go up and watch this. They're going to bring it back. He gets the ball down, just individually how good he is. The way he performed yesterday, he scored 36 points. You know, we're talking about all these players for Origin, fullbacks, utilities. He wouldn't be out of place in the Blues jersey.
Nah, he wouldn't. Pappenhausen. So they had Harry Grant out as well, right?
Harry Grant, they had a few out. Will Warbrick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just reminded everyone what they can do, right, Melbourne? Pappenhausen scored, this is right, 36 points. So he scored more points than any other team this weekend outside of Melbourne.
Unbelievable.
But the real talking point after the game.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Which really, it just fueled the fire, right? Jerome Luai's dad, Jerome's extremely close to his dad, looks up to his dad, did an Instagram post, which is now deleted.
It has been deleted. So what happened after the game, it was just a picture of an orange screen backdrop, and it had the words, "Get out clause activated." And we know with all the talk and everything that's happened previously with the Lachlan Galvin situation, Jerome Luai's post, Taruva's post, we just don't need this for the West Tigers. It was one of the worst performances they've had in a couple of years, 64-0. They were never in the game. And poor old Jerome Luai gets off the game. He's probably going to the airport. They're flying back that night and then just has to go to his Instagram story and read a post from his old man that says, "Get out clause activated."
And then call his dad. Mate,
look, this might mean nothing, but to the journos, to the fans, there's been talk about, if Luai wants to say team first, get rid of the get-out clauses in your contract. Nothing's happened. Now it just adds a bit more of a narrative to the story.
It does, and it's, the guys at Fox, everyone's going to blow it up at Channel 9. It's just going to take on a life of its own, right? But Jerome Luai's actually got ahead of it in the last 2 weeks when, he's being grilled about all this stuff. And his leadership and between him and Appy Coruscant, they've actually steadied the ship. They've actually led well. They've done those press conferences.
I think it's Jerome that's led well. I don't think Appy's led well.
Well, I think when they were marched out the front and the press conference was bang, 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 and they were hammered, all the journos, especially the experienced ones, go, well, hang on, what's going on with you? Where are you at with your get-out clauses every 2 years? And he was very firm and direct with eye contact. I'm here to stay.
Yep.
I'm here to stay. Shutting it down. And then his dad does that.
And then now the talk's going to be, if you're here to stay, get rid of the clauses.
Yeah.
So it's just not needed. West Tigers, once again in the media, people are going to say we're bashing them. They're just opening yourself up for open slather.
I don't think it'll be past Luai to probably get ahead of it now. Well, not ahead of it. He's behind it at the moment, but to probably come out and say something, because it's going to be the first question to Jerome Luai. He's very active on social media, which we love when the players are. If I was a betting man, which I am, I think he'll respond this week, and he'll respond firmly.
Yeah, it's Sydney's biggest gossip segment. You can contribute. We love it when your whispers get on air. Send us a DM on Instagram, or you can text us 0457 10 1049. Incredible prizes on offer if your whisper does get to air. We have a brand new one today.
A big player swap between the Bulldogs and the Dragons is on the cards before the June 30 deadline. The Bulldogs want Fidel Latu early and are working with the Dragons to see which player goes the other way.
That's an interesting one, because looking at the rosters, I don't think the Dragons want too many of the Bulldogs players like they need it now. If I'm thinking about, I'm Coach Shane Flanagan, I'm going to go to the Sharks and obviously talk to Serrato as well. They've got a good relationship, those three clubs, especially those three people, because they all live down the Shire. They all know each other really well. I'd probably say if I'm the Sharks, if I'm Flanagan, I'd say I need Dan Atkinson now. We've already signed him long term. We've signed him for 3 years. I'm going to the Sharks and saying, what player would you need from the Bulldogs? And looking at the Bulldogs roster, the bloke's not playing. Blake Wilson, one of the wingers.
Yeah.
They've got a pretty low stock down at Cronulla with wingers. Sione Katoa's out for the whole season. Stone Street and is really the only one there at the moment that's sort of holding his own. And Renato Mulatalo. And then you go Finau Latu to the Dogs. So it's sort of like I'd be pursuing the Cronulla Sharks into helping us trade to get what I want at Dragons. Because they need a 5'8". They need a half.
They need this swap the most
Yes,
at Dragons.
that's
right?
what I mean. And that Finau Latu, the Dogs want him now. You can use that as leverage.
I don't think I agree with you. I just don't think the Sharks would let Atkinson go.
No way.
Because there's too much football to be played. Yes, Trindle and Nico are the halves for the rest of the year, or for the rest of their contracts. But Atkinson is super important to that team.
He is.
Because, whether it's injuries or origin time, when they're shuffling the decks, Atkinson actually plays a big role. He also plays many positions.
That's the thing.
He can play wing, centre. He can come on and play hooker if they need him.
Yep.
He can play 5'8". He can play halfback. Not many guys can do that on the bench.
No
play
way.
all the outside backs and the halves. So that's a stretch. The Dogs, look, Gus doesn't do anything by halves, right? And
No way.
Gus doesn't get sold short. So
Either does Flano.
either does Flano, but they've lost Latu, right? They've lost him. So
He's got the power because the Dogs want Latu now.
yeah.
That's where he's got a bit of the pull.
Yeah, watch this space. The
Ooh.
Dogs have got plenty of options, and when Gus falls out of favour or Serraldo, whoever, they're out of favour. But at the moment, everyone's in favour.
That's
of
exactly
the Dogs
right.
because they all are playing a role. So what do we got now? It's about 7 weeks.
It is,
before this trade has
and then
to happen.
the other one as well on the weekend, Jamin Salmon just went down for the fractured ankle, so he's out for 10 weeks. Same position as Finau Latu.
Woodsy, a lot of comebacks in the NRL this weekend.
It was unbelievable this weekend at comebacks, Cats. On Friday night, the Titans were down 20-0 to Newcastle Knights, who, it was a game that was sort of a lot of controversy going into it with Des Hasler, Kenny, will he see out the year? They're down 20-0, his side. And it looked like it was just going to be one-way traffic. They found their way to get back in. They won 24-20 on the bell. They scored the game, the try on the bell. Then we go to the next game at 8 o'clock. The Rabbitohs. They're coming up against the Brisbane Broncos, red-hot Broncos side.
What a game.
And then you speak of a player that's a big game player, that the situation needs a player to stand up. Latrell Mitchell, wow. Come up with 2 massive try-saving tackles. One was a one-on-one tackle against Payne Haas, which is hard when you tackle on Payne Haas with 3 blokes. The next one was a covering tackle, and he come out of nowhere on Dean Mariner, who's one of the quickest players in the competition, tackled him, but not only tackled him, but drove him over the sideline, which got them the ball back. They get a last set of 6 on the halfway. He kicks a field goal from 49 metres in rain, and as soon as he hit it, he knew.
Turned around.
He knew he hit it, turned around, they got the lead, they're up by 1 point, and then they go up the other end, they get the ball back. The bell goes, and he's sort of like, it's like a dead play, Bowie, and everyone sort of stops, but then he keeps playing, burrows underneath and scores the try to seal the game for the for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Unbelievable. And then the huge game was Saturday at 3 o'clock, the Bulldogs. This was 1v2. Canberra Raiders come out, and it was just an avalanche. The Bulldogs could not stop it. They were down 20-0 at halftime. It was one-way traffic. They come out after halftime. Stephen Crichton, I remember listening to the commentary at halftime for Fox it was, and they go, they need a player to stand up, and they reckon the player will be Stephen Crichton. He came out after halftime. He held the ball.
Like a tennis ball.
Yeah, it was like a tennis ball. He was just switching hands. It is so hard to hold a ball like that. He scored the first try, set up the next 2. It was 20-18 within 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah.
They come out. They scored 32 points against the Raiders, who were coming second. This Bulldog side is the real deal, Bowie.
100%. My son plays footy in the Arvos on Friday. He's in year 2, right?
Yeah.
There's a year 6 kid that jumps in every now and then. That's what Stephen Crichton was doing.
It's what it looks like, doesn't it?
Right? He was like bigger, stronger, faster than them. That Raiders-Bulldogs game was incredible for many reasons. You always feel like you're a chance against Canberra, even if they're in front, even when we played. If they're 10, 12, 18, 20 in front, you feel like you can come back because they switch off sometimes.
They do.
And that's what happens. Latrell Mitchell, when he gets that look in his eyes, right? There was a moment in the game, those try-savers, but Selwyn Cobbo, who they compare to Latrell all the time, big, strong, athletic kid still, where he got the ball off a grubber or something, and Latrell reminded the NRL, right? Reminded the rugby league community that he is the top dog. He was compared to Greg Inglis. That was a Greg Inglis performance.
Oh.
When he was gritting his teeth like that and he put the team on his shoulders, No one can stop
Got a
Latrell.
question.
No one can stop Latrell Mitchell. When Latrell Mitchell is in that mood, no one can stop him.
Got a question for you. What do you think when he just walked into the sheds after the game and didn't do any interviews?
The thing with Latrell, right?
He's put himself on a media ban since the start of the year.
Okay,
so this
well-
isn't the first week he's done it.
Yeah, Latrell is the. It's an us versus them, right?
Yep.
Latrell carried that team, as we all know. But Latrell, the only thing that will stop Latrell Mitchell is Latrell Mitchell, right? He's his own worst enemy if he gets complacent. But when he's in his mood, when he's in that mood on Friday night, the Broncos are a top 4 team, man.
They are.
They're a stacked team. They were he had them skittled, right? They had plenty of players out south. In terms of the media ban, look, he gives us a lot of access in terms of media.
He's great.
On his own social media, and then he did a Triple M interview last year where he swore. Like, you can't win. The media are like, well, we want more, we want less. What's going to happen here? I don't mind it, right? It's not going to happen every week, but Latrell, when he's in that mood, Latrell deserves to do whatever he wants to do.
You know the best thing about Latrell doing Latrell? He's priming himself for 2 weeks' time for those 2-headed blokes up north.
Oh.